Chances are, if you have a television, you've binge watched a house flipping show. I think a lot of people find house flipping so intriguing because it combines creativity, numbers, and an entrepreneurial spirit. Many people dream of being their own boss, and flipping gives you that. I recently stumbled across YouTube videos that have broken down the costs and profits of their endeavors, and people are making a ridiculous amount of money on this. Naturally, it makes you question, well, can I do that? That's what I'm gonna figure out today. Hi guys, my name is Monica Church and I'm I'm not a real estate agent yet. I am studying to become a real estate agent in Seattle, Washington. So if you're interested in any housing content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm so excited to talk about house flipping today. This video took a long time to make. I would love if you would give it a thumbs up to support the video. All right, let's get into it. Television and even YouTube have a way of glamorizing things, and it's left me wondering, is house flipping all that the media makes it out to be? Or is there more than what we see in a 20-minute episode? This is Lauren and Lincoln, full-time flippers and part-time YouTubers. In the span of just around 2 years, they have done over 20 flips, with some pretty incredible before and afters. Today they're taking me inside of 3 of their current projects so we can really see what it takes to flip houses.
Okay, so this is our problem child project that we've had for like 9 months now. Some of them are quick and easy, and those are the ones that make you a lot of money. And then there's these where
we should never bought it.
Shouldn't have bought it in the first place. Here we are.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I don't know what I'm seeing right now.
This is it.
You guys are like, well, that's the kitchen, that's the bathroom.
Right.
You can see everything. That's the benefit of this open concept.
This is what you call a down to the studs remodel, where we're literally taking it down to the 2x4s in the wall. We bought it for like $330,000. We thought we would spend maybe like $90,000 and hopefully sell it for like $500, $550. That was like over 9 months ago. Yeah, I think we maybe purchased it a year, started trying to get through all the permitting process like starting 9 months ago. Market over here is like really taking off. So I think we'll get 600, north of 600.
This is going to be like our open concept kitchen living space. We're actually putting in a big island right here. We had to chip into the concrete to run the gas for that. Actually making this into a master suite. And then a walk-in closet and like a big master bathroom ensuite.
We learned a new lesson, which is like, not only do you avoid something on a busy street, you should avoid something even close to a flip.
You don't want to tackle one of these.
No.
Down to the stud remodels are expert level. They come with the potential of higher profits, but with a much greater chance of unexpected costs. Lauren and Lincoln were tied up in disputes with the city over permitting for months, eating into their profit margin. Luckily, holding onto the property is working in their favor as the market is appreciating greatly in this part of town. Can you walk me through your first flip?
Yeah. You know, it was one that I got here in North Austin. I think I put down on my first house maybe like $40,000 that I had saved, and then put it on market. And I was really nervous about selling it. And I remember the woman who ended up buying it loved the house, and she wrote me this really sweet note about how it was the perfect house for her and her toddler to grow up in. It was near her work, and how much they were just gonna like love and cherish that house. And I was like hooked after that. I was like, oh my gosh, this feels amazing.
House number 2.
House number 2, we're in the suburbs. We're up here in Round Rock to get a little more house for your money. And this is a completely different remodel, so excited to show you.
Okay, so this one is more of a beginner remodel.
So we call this the DIY not house because the previous owners did a lot of things themselves, but they did it like terribly. So we're just basically undoing all the stuff they did to get it back to what it used to be.
So this is a pretty simple house.
You can get away with like a lot of updates, like the banister, doing it just kind of in a high contrast black. Adds a little bit of drama. It's an old banister. So we bought this one for $295,000, and it's gonna be a $45,000 reno, give or take.
Key with this one is speed. So we bought this a couple weeks ago. We're hoping it's only a few more weeks left. So like the faster we can do them, time is money with this business as well. And so that's like an important factor.
This is what we call a cosmetic flip. these can be done much quicker and require a lot less work. They're hoping to sell in the low 400,000s, giving them an estimated profit of around $60,000 to $80,000. And that's in just 1 month of work.
The beauty of this house is it was built in the 90s, and so a lot of the like really expensive stuff that's not glamorous, the foundation, the electrical, the roof was actually only a few years old. The heavy lifting stuff is already done for us, so it's a great beginner for them.
So this is your guys' biggest flip to date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very exciting. It looks awesome.
This is a 1939 bungalow that got an addition in the 80s, and now we're basically gutting it and turning it into a brand new house. It didn't have this porch on the front of it, and the roof line didn't extend. It kind of stopped right where the door is. So to give it like a little bit more of a dramatic flair, we pulled the whole thing forward, redid the flat work. We'll actually put a stone facade where the yellow siding is right now and give it like a really dramatic look.
So break it down. How did this transaction go?
So this was a kind of a weird one because this was listed on market, like anybody could have bought this house. But what's crazy is it's one lot, but it came with a house on the front, and this is like a duplex on the back, but they were sold together. So we bought the whole thing for $770,000, and we sold just the back half of it for $450.
We were able to recoup a lot of our initial investment.
Being in a nicer part of town, they are hoping to sell this house around $1 million. With $320,000 invested in the property, plus about $250,000 in renovation costs, they could make up to $500,000 on this project alone.
The thing I do like about house flipping is it's not easy by any means, and it does take some capital or some creativity once you're getting started. But I do feel like it is a vehicle for people to make, a substantial, to build wealth, really, through their own hard work.
I think a lot of people, it's their dream to do it. There's so many resources available to make it happen, but you just have to commit to doing it. And then if you're willing to do that and you're willing to learn and be humble, yeah, I think anybody could.
So now I'm back here in Seattle, and I wanted to look at what the market is really like here for flipping and what it's like to try and find a good deal. One of my biggest takeaways from hanging out with Lauren and Lincoln is flipping a house, of course, is hard when it comes to all the labor that's involved, but the hardest part is actually just being able to find a good deal, because if you pick the wrong house, you could lose a lot of money. So let's try and find a good house to flip. I'm just gonna put in fixer-uppers, and I'm gonna do... So I identified a house here. It is $765,000 for 3 bedrooms, 0.75 bathrooms at 2,670 square feet. With all of the success that Lauren and Lincoln have had with their flips, they've actually made a course to help guide others through flipping. And that is what I have been using to learn more about flipping. They were nice enough to give a discount code as well, so if you use the code millennial, you'll get 10% off your purchase. All right, so I'm now in the course, and in this course there's a lot of different things. House flipping foundations, there's preparing yourself for flipping, there's the financial principles, funding your flip, finding the flip, buying it, flipping it, and selling it. So they really cover everything, and I am just so interested in like how to find a good flip opportunity. Now if we look here at the map, it does appear that its location is pretty good. It's close to Aurora Avenue, which is historically a not great location here in Seattle, but it's a couple blocks away.
All right, guys, so now we are on to the next module. This module is all about finding the deals. And I just want to start by saying the best way to start analyzing your local market is to get out in it. Go explore it.
So this is 3 beds, 1 bath, 2,700 square feet, so it's a pretty large home. So this is a total, you're gonna gut the whole house. To the level it's been kind of neglected.
Oh,
Right through
this is like
window.
one huge room. Wow, this is actually really cool. Look at this fireplace in here. So I knew this house was gonna need some work, but I did not expect it to be in as bad of shape as it was in.
You missed the roof line.
It's kind of missing, perhaps?
It looks like it. It's waving around. So like, this is the kind of stuff that we're walking into an enormous project. The way you have to analyze it is if you were to do all of that, what would the house be worth then? You know, what would this house be worth if we were to redo everything?
Do you kind of know, like, price per square foot, like what it would cost?
For something like this, probably around $300,000 is what you're gonna look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
At a price of $770,000, you're thinking $300,000, then you're at like $1 million. How do you figure out like if it's worth it from there? Like how do you find comps? Do you just go on and look at recently sold newer houses for similar square footage in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
So all I had to do to find a comp was zoom in on the neighborhood and switch it from for sale to sold, and I was actually able to find a pretty comparable house that was sold about the same square footage, just a little bit newer and in livable condition. The sales price was $1,240,000. So that means this house has a profit opportunity of around $170,000. But it's a pretty big risk. I mean, this piece of junk is $1 million.
You don't know what the market's gonna be like in 6 months.
It's very hard to find deals.
Buyers are super picky.
Nobody likes to talk about losses.
You ultimately owe a lot of money. Yeah, it's very stressful.
Oh, I mean, you have holding costs and utilities and all sorts of stuff.
You're walking into an enormous project.
You know, we've broken even on some projects.
So in conclusion, can you flip a house? Yeah, I think anyone could flip a house, but I don't think the average person that's never flipped a house should go buy some dumpy old thing that's gonna need a down to the studs remodel. But can anyone try and go for a cosmetic flip? I think yes. I think a lot of the people on YouTube have proved that's totally possible. At the end of the day, it is going to take some capital to get there. How does one financially get started flipping houses? Like, what do you really need?
Capital, money. Anything is always easier if you have access to capital, and that would definitely be important when flipping a house. But there are ways to do it without. We talk about it in our course. Like you can hustle, you can find somebody who's already doing it, and offer to like kind of have them be your mentor and like kind of trade sweat equity for knowledge and experience. There are other investors who they have the capital, but they don't want to be out there hustling and doing the work, so you can find and partner with them and kind of split the profits and sort of start a nest egg that way. We also talk about like buying a house for yourself personally, renovating it, selling it, and then kind of getting that nest egg and going from there.
Something that I admire about these flips is it gives people an opportunity to get financially ahead in life. So, funny story, my parents actually flipped a house. My dad was in the Navy, so he was able to put zero down with his VA loan on a house for $85,000. They lived in the house and put $15,000 into fixing it up. Less than 2 years later, they sold it for $185,000. And as a young couple, they were able to take that money and make a down payment on a larger home for their growing family. I think my childhood would have looked a lot different if it weren't for that decision that they made that changed the course of their financial future, and I think that's something that's cool about house flipping. Now, one last thing to consider is how does house flipping affect your community? I'm not gonna dive fully into this, but oftentimes it gets a really bad rap. But here's another angle to consider that I didn't think about until I met with the Flipsters.
I think there's a misconception about flipping houses that you're taking away houses from the market that some family's gonna live in. And the reality is, like, we're flipping houses that people physically can't live in oftentimes. They've got holes in the ceiling and rotted floors and foundation issues and raccoon infestations. The lenders that would lend to like a family or somebody buying a normal house, they won't lend on these types of properties. So really their only hope of being brought back to life is for an investor to come along and put in the time, money, and energy really into breathing new life into the houses.
Lincoln makes a good point. There is a time and a place where house flipping can be a great thing. I really respect what the Austin Flipsters do, but I have to say, I'm gonna stick to watching flips on YouTube and not try and dive into this endeavor myself. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to learn more, I got these two right here, link in the description. Go subscribe to the Austin Flipsters and seriously consider getting their course if you're interested in actually flipping houses. I think it could be very valuable in your journey. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. If you're interested in more housing content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram. And if you're ever looking to buy or sell in the Seattle, Washington area, I'd love to help you with that as well. I'll have my contact info below. I actually need to go film a listing video now, so I'm gonna head out. Bye.